Meliodas on some troll shit like, yeah, I'm gonna pretend that you defeated me so I could gather some info, then I'm gonna hop back up and laugh at you. Trolling at its finest. So beginning this episode, we get a little bit of foreshadowing to the later events of the episode. Kind of found that a little bit interesting, and I guess that was also to grab your attention and say, yeah, this isn't going to be all comedy because some of the later bits are kind of comedic. So there was kind of like, there's some serious stuff, just wait a little bit. Because the beginning bits with the goblin clones and whatever, it was kind of funny and was leading into finding Diane, but ultimately a lot of it I was just like, why are we wasting time on this? I mean, don't get me wrong, Elizabeth is kind of yum-yums, but I think right now we should be more focused on, serious matters. And I think one of the biggest things that this episode did as far as progression goes is we found another one of the sins, and it's Diane, this giant-ass fucking, I don't even know how tall. I think there's actually a specific height that she has because there's some gag in the manga, whatever. So we got this giant there. She's one of the 7 deadly sins as well. And just seeing her now, and even in the flashback when she was like walking, is like, her height thing is absolutely hilarious because how the fuck does this giant woman have a crush on Meliodas when he's like, he's regular size or whatever, especially he looks like a little kid. It's a joke in and of itself. And hearing her voice for the first time in the anime, I'm like, she sounds a lot more childlike than I thought because, you see this big-ass giant, you expect maybe not the most deepest voice, but you expect a pretty low-pitched voice or whatever. It's like, yeah, I love him, whatever. But she's like, ah, like she almost has like fucking Hawk's voice. And I felt a lot of this episode was comedy-driven, with her roasting Hawk and the goblin stuff. So some of that stuff, it was funny, it was alright, but a lot of it did feel like, we're getting to serious bits and then like, no, there's comedy in there. So it's like trying to mix things. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And it felt similar to last week's episode, maybe a little bit different in a sense, but like the beginning of this episode was like, it's all right. But once we got to Gilthunder, that's where it really got hyped. Like, the Diane stuff was cool. It's like, holy shit, a new 7 deadly sin, and she's kind of wacky and, goofy or whatever. But when Gilthunder showed up again, it was like, time for war yet again. Art and animation this episode, by the way, look beautiful. There were only a couple times, like, when they clashed swords, I ain't gonna lie, it didn't look the best animated, but the art looked absolutely gorgeous, and for the most part, the animation was just through the roof. And I think for only episode 3, getting a little bit of Gilthunder's backstory and what he believes actually happened in the past and kind of understanding a little bit more about the Holy Knights as well, we got quite a bit of characterization and we got some motives, we got a little bit of exposition as to the situation we're in right now. So I think for episode 3, it did good in that aspect of giving us things that we need to know, like why is Gilthunder so passionate about this? Okay, he thinks that they killed his father, and why are the Holy Knights doing this? Which their logic is really fucked up in a sense if you think about it, because according to Gilthunder, half of them, they want revenge over the coup d'etat, and they believe that, the Sins did this massive coup d'etat and they should be punished for this, and then the other half, they just want to prove themselves that they're stronger. You want revenge over a coup d'etat by causing a coup d'etat and overthrowing the government. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense, you dumbasses? And Gilthunder's backstory, while it is kind of tragic, not the end of the day, his father got fucking destroyed, ultimately, he seems a bit wise at the same time, so maybe he's not fully being driven by this revenge. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. Because if you look at him, he looks like a wise guy, and I don't think that he would immediately assume the worst. Maybe he knows a little bit more about something, and it's just far deeper than that. But hands down, one of my favorite parts, and make sure you watch the whole episode because it came after the ending song, and that's the one interesting thing about Taizai, is like they play a little bit of extra info at the end. You get a little bit more of the episode, but when he faked it, because at first I was thinking to myself, because it's been a long time since I read this. Well, for me anyway, it feels like that's been well over a year. So I'm thinking, damn, did he really get fucked up like that in the series? I was like, shit, man, I don't remember Meliodas getting fucking destroyed like that. Then when he jumped up and said I trolled him, it's like, okay, so we got more character of Meliodas, that he is that wise, that he will fake an ass whooping and get slashed up to get info on the other sins and where they're at, what's going on. So definitely shows how wise Meliodas really is. And while he can be a troll and he wants to rub up on Elizabeth's ass, who doesn't want to? I personally rather go with Diane. I'm a little bit freaky like that, but you get what I mean. But there's more to him than meets the eye. There's a lot more depth, and you slowly get little things like that. Like him pulling that little troll shit shows that he's wise. And ultimately, their little clashes and everything looked awesome. And overall, it was a good episode for the most part. A lot of the comedy bits I wasn't too fond of per se, because like the goblin stuff in the beginning and kind of some of the jokes, it was just like, But we did get progression and finding out about Diane and finding her, and also Gilthunder yet again, getting more backstory on him and the Holy Knight. So I still felt like it was a pretty good episode, a little bit better than last week's episode as well. So I'm going to give this one 8 out of 10. Very good episode. Could have been a lot better without a lot of the comedy. But ultimately, it still progressed, and we got some characterization and some backstory that we needed. And I'm just saying that Meliodas trick at the end, that shit was fucking classic, and it's like, more heroes need to do shit like that. But let me know what you thought of this episode. What do you think about finding out the Holy Knight's motive? What do you think about the sin of envy, finding Diane? How do you feel about her character? Any manga readers, how do you feel about her voice? What do you think about it? And overall, what do you thought of this episode? I mean, beautifully animated, beautiful art, and some of the content, like, you know, we really progressed finding a sin already, getting another fight with Gilthunder. And your overall thoughts of the episode, but that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you can do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.